Okay, everybody. So we are now in week 10. Let me get my email off the screen here so it's not wrecking anybody. Yeah, so it's week 10, and I've got most of you guys are making pretty good progress. But here's what I want to do, just to tell everybody how to best catch up on an ETEC 214. So, excuse me. I'm in the shell right now, and I'm currently grading assignment 5, and I'm just going to treat this email as private to people inside the course. I know Sean, you're working pretty hard on some your career. And Cody, it sounds like you are too, and I really appreciate that. But what I also want to have happen is have everybody complete the course. Chris, I really congratulate you on sticking with it, knocking things out, and Joe, both Joes, and Sean Doty, guys, good job sticking with it as well. So I think almost everybody's turned in weeks 1 and 2. And I'm just going to go through week 3 now and show you a few things from Al Frazier's solutions. So let me go ahead and open those up. Okay. Actually, while I'm at it, I'm just going to kind of start at the beginning. So let's look at well, let me show you some of the financial functions here. So Al Frazier has done a really nice job outlining these, and I've emailed everybody the Wikipedia page that shows the financial functions too. Just while I'm thinking about it, I'm going to go ahead and double click on that line. I don't know if you saw that or not, but if you let's say I make this cell too wide, there's all this leftover space. If I double click it, it comes back, and now it's much more legible. Anyway, financial factors. If I'm going from F to P, the P/F function is denoted like so. Here's F, which is the number that's going in, and what he's done here is used a hard or an absolute reference with the dollars. So somewhere off over there is cell T4, and that's what's being referenced in every case. So he's just got a single input, and so you can control it by just going over here and putting an input. So if I change this to 20,000, everything changes. If I don't like it, I just do a Control Z and it turns back to 10. That was a Control Z, which is undo. This also is an absolute reference to the interest rate. This is the number of years. These are the factors that emerge. So what you can see here, this is just calculating the present value from the future value. There's the formula right there in algebraic notation. This is what it looks like in Excel notation, and then the value comes from that. So the factor just comes from the interest rate and the number of years. You multiply it by whatever the base value is, in that case 10, then you get that. Okay. So that's and then obviously they get more complex, but those are all given. So all of the solutions are right here. So for you guys that haven't finished up week 2 yet, slow the video down, take a look at them. The parentheses can be tricky, but those are the answers. So go ahead and put those in, and you'll be fine. Okay. Here is another problem. So if we've got a future value of $10,000, a discount rate or an interest rate of 10%, a term of 5 years, what we can do is rewrite it like so. There's your 10,000, there's your interest rate, there's your number, there's your factor, and there's your value. So you're taking that factor, let me make this a little bit bigger. You're taking this factor and simply multiplying it by the value. Okay, so that's, again, just going from F to P and P to F as a double check. Okay, so let's get into this problem. This was a 6 kilowatt system. It had a salvage value of $7,000. That's what it's going to be worth in the future. The interest rate is 9%. It's going to go for 15 years. So the annuitized value, all that information is, again, just repeated right here. Here's the factor. In this case, he used the long form, but that's just going from future to annuitized value. And here is what that system is worth each year. So it's the factor times the future value. And here's a double check by going the other direction. So just starting with 235 and reversing that, so going from annuitized to future and then arriving at 7,000. Okay, so that's just what the array might be worth in 7 years, converting that to 7,000. Okay. The next one, this yeah, salvage value of 7,000 in, again, 15 years, 9% interest. There's the function, and here we use present value, which is the present value from the future value. That should not, there should not be a dollar sign there, but that's okay. Present value of salvage, 1922. And there's the annuity we already saw. Okay. This one was a little more complicated. Mechanical device will cost $20,000 when purchased. Maintenance will cost $1,000 per year. Okay, so there's your initial. That's what it costs you right now. You put that right in. $1,000 a year. Again, that just goes right in. The device is going to generate $5,000 per year. There that is. What's the net? Let's see. And the salvage, you're going to get $7,000 in 5 years. Okay, so all these present values just look like this. Well, since it's going to cost you since it's going to cost you $20,000, you're going to multiply that by -1. Sorry, that's kind of hard to see up there, but that's why you go from 20,000 to -20, and that's what the parens mean on that. This guy, we're going to take the annuitized value, so we're just doing operations and maintenance as a little sub-spreadsheet down here. There's your operations and maintenance. You're at 8.3%, going for 5 years. That's the factor. Yeah, so this is the present cost of that 5 years at $1,000 a year. It's $39.61, and that just comes in right there. Okay, the revenue is going to be $5,000 per year. There's that. So just another little sub-spreadsheet down here. Here's your interest rate. Here's the number of years. There's the factor. And that revenue is just calculated from these two, just these two cells, the base value and the factor. Again, the factor is just calculated like we just saw in the previous two examples. So that $19,000 is what's the present value of all the future revenue. And the salvage value, I've done this before. There it is. It's just that P to F. Again, there's your $7,000 future, 8.3% interest rate, 5 years. That's the factor just based on those two numbers. And there's the value. That gets copied up here. And then the next net present value is just the sum of those four numbers. And it comes in kind of cheap, only $544, so not very valuable, but there it is anyway. Okay, so that's correct. Most of you guys got that right. We've been over that before too. All right, problem 6. A couple guys had problems with this. So if the system size is, 6 kilowatts DC, the salvage value is $7,000, 9% per year, 15 years. Now, here's the confusing part. You're going to make 1,100 kilowatt hours of AC per year per kilowatt of DC installed. And this is what you're going to get paid from the utility, 15 cents per kilowatt hour. So if you're going to, let's see, where's the 9? Okay, so if you're going to make 6,600 kilowatts per year, and that's for a system size. So again, look at this closely. If the system size is 6 kilowatts of DC, you have to multiply that by 1,100 to figure out how many AC kilowatt hours you're going to get. There was another one, I think, where the size was something like 2.5, and this number came out to be 2750. A couple people missed that, but that's how much AC kilowatt hours you're going to make. I'm going to undo and let that alone. Okay, so now we're going to look at the salvage value of the system, the total payments made, and this is the net present value of the system. And yeah, I think most of you guys got that. Yeah, so now we're using the present value. It takes the three arguments, the base number, the number of years, and the discount rate. Okay, so I think that takes care of week 2. Let's go week 3, problem 1. And this was just verifying that you can compare the value calculated from the fundamental mathematics, which is shown here on rows 10 and 11, and then come up with the Excel values, which are right there. So here is the value, here is Excel, and you can see in each case they match. If I could just make that the right size, you can see the numbers are identical. So again, that's just double checking that you can do a little bit of programming in Excel by entering equal signs and parens and all that, and compare it to the 6 financial functions in Excel. Or actually, no, I'm sorry, there's only 3 financial functions: PV, FV, and PMT. All right, I know I'm going kind of fast, but this is all review. Okay, let's look at this guy one more time. Yeah, here we are with, so if the utility is going to give you $2 per watt of incentive, the system size is 2.5 kilowatts DC, we're looking at 1,100 kilowatt hours per year per DC installed. We're going to run it for 15 years, 7% interest. This is how many kilowatt hours of AC electricity you are going to make per year. Okay, so now let's see what this calculated incentive is. Calculated incentive right here, 5,000. Where is that coming from? Well, $2 per watt, and you've got 2.5 kilowatts. So we need to multiply by 1,000 because we've got 2,500 watts. So there's the incentive for the utility company to put that in. Yeah, and now let's see. Incentive to annuity This basically looks at what it costs the utility company over time. $549 per year. Now, what did it cost the utility overall? Well, it's the total number of kilowatt hours per year divided by the dollars per year. And so it cost the utility 20 cents per kilowatt hour to get this thing installed. It's kind of expensive. Yeah, it's more expensive than it's more money than they're going to make back, and a lot of times that's why you won't see this kind of incentive in Montana, at least. But finances like this would work in places where electricity is generated from diesel and typically much more expensive. Okay, week 3, problem 3. Excuse me. So now we're again 1,100 kilowatt hours for each kilowatt hours of AC for each kilowatt of DC installed. Let's roll this up. 15 years, 15 cents per kilowatt hour. The generation payment will be paid at the end of each year based on the actual generated, a discount rate of 9%. What's the present value of the system from the PV owner's perspective, considering both the utility and the salvage? Okay, we just saw this one a second ago, so that 92 or 9902 pops out again. So 6 kilowatt system, $7,000 is just in there, 9%, 15 years. Here's how many kilowatt hours of AC you'll get per DC installed. There is the cost. You're going to make $6,600. So at 15 cents, that's how much you will get per year if you're actually net metered, if you're the homeowner. Just annuitize that, add the two together, that's the present value. Okay, week 3, number 4. This one's a little more complicated, so I'm going to expand this and take a closer look at it. Okay. So discount rate's going to be 7.4, and the project cost is going to be $22,000. Let's assume you're going to get a tax credit for it. So if you put the system in, you'll get some money knocked off the tax at 35%. If the total cost is less than 20 grand, the entire tax credit can be taken off the year after the project is completed. Okay, assume you have to discount this option. So you'll have to throw the percentage of by discount meaning you have to put interest on that too. If the project cost is greater than or equal to $20,000, the tax credit is taken over 5 years. 10% for 1 and 2, then 5 for 3 and 4. This is the real tax algorithm. I'm not making this up. Okay. Now, here are the inputs. 7.4%. You're going to run for 5 years, and $20,000 is the threshold. It's going to cost you $22,000, and there we go. There's your cost, $22,000. I'm just going to look at option A for now. The tax credit, let's see where that comes from. That's coming from this tax credit calculator. So let's bop over here for a second and see where these guys are coming from. Tax credit calculator based on 35%. So year 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, those are just numbers. Actual payment. Now, here's where we have to dig into the if statement a little bit. And I apologize, it's not any larger up here, but just focus where I am. It says if the value in B8, and that's B8, that's the initial cost, if the value in B8 is greater than the value in B6, or greater than the tax threshold. So if it's going to cost more than what your tax threshold is, then you're going to multiply the value in B8 times 0.1, which is that 10%, which was right here. Otherwise, you're going to multiply B8 times 35, which was the tax credit. So, yeah, and I think you can see it pretty well here. So if B8 is greater than B6, then you get 10%, otherwise 35%. Okay, so this all just takes care of itself. Boomity, boomity, boom, boom, boom. So it goes from 0.1 to 0.05%. And you can also see, you can also see the other part of the if statement says at the second year, you're going to get 0 back. If it's if you're under the threshold, you're going to get that 35% initially. Otherwise, you don't. So that's why there's a 0 as the final value. See that 0 there? Oops. So the final entry here is 35 in our OR statement. The final entry here is 0. I know you guys are smart, so you can figure that out. Now, we just do a present value on that. So 1 year, 2,200 with the 7.4% interest rate. We're going for 2 years, 3 years. The PV, so the first value is the rate, the second is the number of periods. This is how many payments. So 0, and then the future value is what's given in age 9. Yeah, so the number of payments is just 0 because each year is given. Okay, we add those up. Add those up. And that's where this tax credit comes in for option A, where we got the more expensive of the two. Okay, operations and maintenance, $1,000 a year, pretty standard. That's where that comes from. The revenue, where's that 5,000 coming from? I can't remember. One-time payment to customer. There it was. That's where that comes from. Thank you. Okay, I'm a little confused by that. Why you get 5? Why you keep getting that? I didn't think. Thought that was the one-time payment to customer. A little confused by that myself. Salvage value makes sense. I'm going to pause it. Okay, I just went back and checked and I found where that number came from. So, yeah, indeed, it does say right here, using problem 5 from week 2. So I went back into the course. Here I am, ETC, week 2. Problem 5, it says the device will generate revenues of $5,000 per year. Okay, that's where that comes from. Now we're here. Okay, perfect. Whew! Okay, so yeah, $5,000 per year. The salvage value is 7,000. So everything on this whole deal is the same. Operation and maintenance, the revenue, the salvage value. What's different? The only thing that's different is I-23, which is option B, versus I-12, which was option A. So let's just see where these came from. So year one, yeah. So option B, the initial cost was actually cheaper. You're like, $19.99. I'm going to pay $19.99. Well, you're not going to get as much. Yeah, you actually are. It's so close, though, man. This thing is just splitting hairs. You're going to get the $7,000 back quicker. You're not going to get anything back later. So the only thing that's different is this 6440 versus the 6517. Most people aren't going to care that much unless they can, turn that $7,000 around right now and do something better with it. Okay. Okay, so the present value of option A is $55.65, and that's the value to the customer to pull the trigger on this. The present value on option B is $56.43. So there's a nice little if statement right there. It said if D13 is greater than E13, then print whatever is in D6. Boom. Otherwise, print whatever is in E6. Boom. So option B comes out. All right, great. Okay, now we're done with week 3. Okay, so I hope we're all caught up on week 3. I'm going to take a quick break and get into week 4. Here we go. Well, here we go as soon as I take a break. Sorry, I'm just a little sick. That's why I'm wearing the robe. And